Hi everyone. Now we will start the another part of a nephelometry and a turbidimetry. So here we will know there are some similarity between a turbidimetry and a colorimetry. This means if we don't have turbidimetry in our laboratory, then we will use a colorimetry or a visible spectrophotometry, because the colorimetry is based on the measurement of a transmitted light. Okay, because as we know that when we will pass, okay, that a visible some light electromagnetic radiation to the solution, as the concentration is increasing, there is a decrease in the transmitted light. Okay, then what is the similarity between a nephelometry and a fluorometry? Similarly, if we don't have a nephelometry and if we will have a fluorometry in our lab, then that time we can use fluorometry for the measurement of a concentration of a solution from a turbid solution, because here the scattered radiation is measured. Okay, then here we will see what is a similarity and a difference between different techniques. So what is the difference between a colorimetry and a turbidimetry? So like the transmitted light is measured at a 180 degrees in a colorimetry and a turbidimetry. But what is the difference in a colorimetry and a turbidimetry is a absorption of radiation. They are both the place in turbidimetry and the colorimetry, the absorption of radiation is different. And so here we will see the transmitted light is measured. So this is a similarity between a colorimetry and turbidimetry. And in colorimetry, the absorbed radiation is measured, and difference is here scattered radiation is measured into the turbidimetry. Then between the fluorometry and nephelometry. So as I told, in fluorometry and nephelometry, the scattered radiation is measured at a 90 degrees. Okay, and their difference is the immediate radiation measured, immediate radiation longer wavelength than incident radiation. So in fluorometry, generally the scattered radiation is a longer wavelength than incident radiation. But in nephelometry, both the incident radiation and scattered radiation are same in a nephelometry. Okay, so here we have already seen that turbidimetry is for high concentrated solution and nephelometry is a low concentrated solution. So now we will see the instrumentation of both the technique. Okay, so in both technique the radiation source is very important, and here we will use light source, tungsten lamp in a turbidimetry. But in a nephelometer we will use a white light, and for turbidimetry we will use blue filter. Okay, blue filter means it will absorb the blue light, then it will pass the other wavelength of light onto the solution. Then nephelometry we will use a visible filter. Then we have the sample cell detector. So this is a portable instrument, okay, for measuring a scattered radiation of solution. Okay, then here the factors affecting the measurement. So generally we know if you want to measure the turbidimetry, so S is equal to log I by I0. So as in the UV visible spectrophotometer, as we know, A is equal to epsilon CL in a colorimetry or a visible spectrometry. So K is a constant, B is a path length, and C is a concentration of a suspended particles. Okay, in nephelometry the measurement of a scattered radiation is equal to K is constant, I0 by C. I0 is a incident radiation and C is a concentration of the solution, and also it depends upon the size of the particle. Size and shape of the particles responsible for the scattering. So, one thing we should remember in neplometry. In neplometry, the suspended particles should be smaller. Okay, should be smaller incident wavelength. Okay, smaller than the incident wavelength in neplometry. But here in turbidity the suspended particle should be higher than the incident wavelength. Okay, so that is a difference between a neplometry and a turbidimetry, because the particle size affect the process of a scattering. Okay, then finally we will see the application of both the technique. Okay, so this is a useful for a analysis of water, clarity, concentration of ion. Okay, so if you want to see the clarity of solution, so there are like a drinking water. Okay, drinking water. So there if you will say your the drinking water, okay, for some time, like maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, and if that containing suspended particles, okay, so that type of suspended particles can be determined using this neplometry. Okay, and another one is determination of a carbon dioxide. So this that we are daily to day life we are taking the soft drink. Okay, soft drink, and that soft drink containing a carbonate. Okay, carbonate. And if you want to determine the carbonate present in that soft drink, we can we will use some other reagent to form some suspended particles of a carbon dioxide or a carbonate. In the form of carbonate, we can determine the concentration of a carbonate in the solution. Then we so this is a suppose if I want to determine barium from the solution, so barium is present in soil sample or different environmental samples. So what I will do, I will use a concentrated H2SO4. Then barium will precipitate as a barium sulfate, and the scattering of light depend upon the concentration of barium present. Okay, another one is a ammonia. Ammonia is also present in several samples, and we can determine the presence of ammonia using a Nessler reagent, because the Nessler reagent form complex with the ammonia, and that precipitated will be measured. We can determine phosphorus. Biochemical analysis. So biochemical analysis like bilirubin, protein, lipids. So that can be also determined by forming a suspended particles in the solution. Okay, so there are several applications of this neplometry and turbidimetry. We can determine the smokes and fogs because these are suspended particles. Okay, so this neplometry and turbidimetry is also useful for the solid particles. So here how the solid particle, suppose if we will put the instrument neplometry or turbidimetry, so here the suspended particles from the air will get into this that sample cell. Okay, and there is a online monitoring of smoke or fog through the scattering process. I think that NIT. Okay, so if you will pass through the NIT, there is a measurement of suspended particles. Okay, particulate matter. PM means particulate matter. Maybe there may be some sample cell is there, some suspended particle is falling onto the cell, and there is a there is passing of incident light to the suspended particles, and we are seeing the digitally the values, okay, the concentration of a suspended particles in our cities. Okay, so these are a different application of a this instrument. Okay, then again we can use this technique for a determination of a total protein or a amylase activity or a triglycerides, okay, or lipase activity from clinical samples. Thank you.